My CEO pretended to be my girlfriend to make my ex-wife jealous, her condition. One kiss. The moment my ex-wife walked into the restaurant holding another man's hand, I felt something inside me collapse quietly, like a building condemned long before it finally falls. I had prepared myself for this dinner for weeks, rehearsed calm expressions in the mirror, told myself I was over her. But when she smiled that same smile she once reserved only for me, a smile sharpened now with victory, I realized healing isn't a straight road. It's a battlefield, and that night, I had come unarmed. Just as I stood to leave, humiliated and small, a familiar voice stopped me, warm and steady, and in that instant my life tilted in a direction I never saw coming. Before the story unfolds any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected ways life can heal us, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. I never planned to meet my ex-wife that night. She had insisted, said it was about closure, about discussing old paperwork, about ending things properly. Our divorce had been finalized for a year, but the wounds were still fresh. She had moved on quickly, remarried her emotions even before our signatures dried. I, on the other hand, had buried myself in work, long nights, longer silences, and the quiet humiliation of rebuilding a life from scratch. My job was the only thing that gave me structure, a mid-level position at a fast-growing company run by a CEO everyone admired and feared in equal measure. She was brilliant, sharp, demanding, and distant in a way that made people straighten their backs when she entered a room. That night, as I stood frozen near the restaurant entrance, it was her hand that slipped around my arm, confident and calm, as if it belonged there. My CEO. She was dressed elegantly, not overly glamorous, but impossibly composed, the kind of presence that bent the air around her. She looked at my ex-wife with a polite smile and leaned slightly toward me, close enough that I could smell her subtle perfume. In that moment, she pretended to be my girlfriend, as naturally as breathing. She didn't ask first. She didn't hesitate. She simply stepped into the role, saving me from a humiliation I hadn't even voiced. I didn't understand why she did it. Maybe she noticed the way my shoulders slumped, or the way my confidence drained the second my past walked back into my present. Maybe she simply acted on instinct. Whatever the reason, my ex-wife's expression changed. The smug certainty flickered, replaced by confusion, then disbelief. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't the one left behind. I was the one who had apparently moved on, and moved up. After a few tense minutes, the encounter ended. My ex-wife left with her pride bruised, and the restaurant felt suddenly quieter, heavier. That's when my CEO finally loosened her grip and looked at me, assessing, thoughtful. She told me she had one condition for what she'd just done. One kiss. Not now, not in public, but at some point, to make it believable if our paths crossed again. It wasn't flirtatious. It was transactional, almost clinical. And yet my heart pounded like I'd just sprinted a mile. I agreed, not because I wanted the kiss, but because I felt something rare in that moment. Seen, protected, valued, things I hadn't felt in years. The days that followed were strange. At work, she was still the same CEO. Professional, focused, demanding excellence. But there was a subtle shift, an unspoken awareness between us. Sometimes our eyes met across the conference room a second too long. Sometimes I caught her watching me, when she thought I wasn't looking. And sometimes I wondered if the kiss was just a symbol, or if it was a door neither of us had fully acknowledged opening. My struggle wasn't just with my ex-wife. It was with myself. The man I used to be before the divorce was confident, hopeful, certain of his place in the world. The man I became afterward was quieter, more cautious, afraid to trust happiness because he'd learned how quickly it could be taken away. Having my CEO step into my personal life, even briefly, stirred feelings I had locked away. Admiration turned into something warmer. Gratitude edged toward affection. And fear wrapped itself around all of it. Weeks later, we attended a company event where my ex-wife unexpectedly appeared, her new partner at her side. Without a word, my CEO slipped her hand into mine again. This time, it felt less like an act and more like a promise. The kiss happened later that night, away from prying eyes. It was brief, gentle, and profoundly disorienting. It wasn't fireworks or desperation. It was calm, respectful. Real. And that was what scared me most. From that point on, things began to change, slowly but undeniably. At work, I was given more responsibility, not out of favoritism, but because she believed in my abilities in a way I had forgotten to believe in myself. Outside of work, we talked more. About failures. About pressure. About loneliness at the top and invisibility at the bottom. I learned that behind her success was a lifetime of sacrifices, expectations, and a heart that had learned to armor itself against disappointment. My ex-wife tried, subtly, to reinsert herself into my life. Messages framed as concern, questions disguised as nostalgia, but the jealousy she once wielded like a weapon no longer cut as deeply. I was changing, healing, not because someone pretended to love me, but because someone showed up when I needed it most, without asking for anything except honesty. The real challenge came when rumors started. Office whispers about favoritism, about boundaries crossed, about power and impropriety. My CEO faced scrutiny that could have damaged everything she built. I offered to step back, to distance myself, to protect her reputation. But she refused to let fear dictate her life anymore. For the first time, she chose vulnerability over control. She made a public decision to clarify our professional boundaries, even if it meant people assuming the worst. She stood firm, transparent, and unashamed. Watching her do that inspired something in me. I confronted my own fears, my own tendency to shrink when life demanded courage. Our relationship didn't turn into a fairy tale overnight. It was messy, careful, built on late-night conversations and shared silences. On rebuilding trust not just in each other, but in ourselves. The kiss that started as a condition became a symbol of something deeper. Not ownership, not revenge, but possibility. As the months passed, I realized I no longer measured my worth by my ex-wife's opinions or by who had moved on faster. I measured it by the way I woke up without dread, by the way laughter returned to my life, by the way hope felt less like a trap and more like a gift. Just before this story reaches its end, I want to make a special request. If you've ever felt replaced, overlooked, or broken by someone you loved, please comment below with a heart or a short message. Let others know they're not alone. Near the end of the year, my ex-wife reached out one final time, not with jealousy or regret but with acceptance. She saw that I wasn't pretending anymore. Neither of us was. And that, strangely, brought peace. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that healing can come from the most unexpected places, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement tells us these stories matter, and so do you. Sometimes, the kiss that changes your life isn't about romance at all. Sometimes, it's about being chosen when you least expect it, and learning, finally, to choose yourself.